Hello my dear health seekers, Inga from Health Origins here, and oh my goodness, have I got a recipe for you. So today we're going to be making these fermented Okara and cashew cheeses. If you don't have Okara, you can just replace it with more cashew, but oh my goodness, these are so delicious. So let's begin. So yeah, I have a cup and a half of fresh Okara, and this is soy pulp or soybean pulp left from making soy milk. If you don't know how I make soy milk, and if you're interested to try, I'll link above and down below how I easily make my soy milk with the soya bella, or also without any special equipment, just a nut milk bag as well if you don't have any milk machine. But leftover pulp, you know, because we make this about maybe 3 times a week, we get quite a bit of soy pulp, soybean pulp. So this is 1.5 cups of Okara, and that makes about 1 liter of soy milk. So yeah, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make a fermented vegan cheese with it, also adding some cashews. So this is 1 cup of soaked cashews that I'm going to be mixing together. But I've made it just with the Okara alone, fermented it and had it as a cheese, and yes, you know, it's still kind of like a soft cheese, still ferments, but it's not as creamy and it's not kind of like really cheesy. It kind of is missing a bit of extra creaminess and fat. So that's why I'm adding a cup of cashews. You could maybe do 1/2 cup if you're trying to kind of limit your calorie intake, so do maybe 1/2 cup. So I've soaked these in boiling water for about 1/2 hour, or you could just use it in cold water for about 2 hours to soak it. And I've got my food processor here, or even my Thermomix blender. So I'm gonna put both cashews and Okara into it. So 1.5 cups of Okara and 1 cup of soaked cashews. I've drained them, and we're gonna just put the lid on and we're gonna blend it until smooth. So maybe it's about 2-3 minutes. And because obviously there's not much liquid, my blender is struggling to blend it a little bit, so I'm adding 1/4 cup of water at this point. So yeah, see, it's kind of like cottage cheese at the minute. So you want to blend it here until really smooth consistency. You might have to scrape the sides a couple of times. So now, as you can see, it looks fairly smooth. So we're gonna put all of this mixture in a clean 1 liter jar. So now I've got my mix in a glass jar, and at the minute this mixture is not quite cheese, it's still quite sweet. So what we need to do is we need to ferment this now. So I've got some homemade soy milk, so really thick soy milk, soy yogurt even. So I've got some really thick homemade soy yogurt, and I'm gonna put about good 2-3 tablespoons of this and mix it through. So mix it well. So adding this live yogurt now added the probiotic bacteria, yogurt bacteria into this, and it will start fermenting in the right temperature. So I'm gonna put this in my dehydrator at 40 degrees, but you could also use a yogurt maker, or just keep it in room temperature wherever you know have a warmer spot, maybe in the kitchen somewhere by the stove, or somewhere by the radiator perhaps, where it's you know as warm as about 40 degrees is optimal, and you want to ferment this for 24 hours. So I'm gonna just put a muslin cloth on this. In fact, I'm gonna double it because I don't want this to dry out while it's fermenting, but I want it to still breathe, because it needs to breathe. So yeah, so I'm gonna just add this to my dehydrator on 40 degrees for 24 hours and let this ferment into cheese. It's been 24 hours as our Okara and cashew cheese has been fermenting, and have a look at it. It's really thickened up, and it does smell cheesy, so I'll give it a little taste test here. Yes, it's got the tanginess. So what we can do now, I'll use actually the same cloth in here in my tofu cure. So you need either some specific thing like this, kind of a tofu press, tofu cure as I've got. I can link down below where you can buy yours, or you could simply do on a metal sieve, and also double line it there, and put it in a metal sieve to drip down, because ours is going to be dripping into this. So I'm just going to line this container here. What we want to do, if there's any kind of moisture, to drip down through and kind of press it out a little bit. So this is our step 2. We're going to try and actually, when you blend it, you can make it a little bit more watery that way, because we're going to strain it anyway. So don't be afraid if it doesn't blend very well for you. You can add a little bit more water, because we're going to now strain it. And any moisture should just drip down overnight. So I'm going to leave it overnight, or you'd need to, I would say, at least about 2 to 4 hours to just drip down. So this is nice and cheesy now. It definitely got that lovely fermented taste, and also these healthy probiotics. Yeah, but this is a nice consistency, so hopefully it's gonna drip a little bit more moisture out, so it becomes even firmer, and plus in the fridge it'll kind of firm up too. So I'm just gonna close these up like that, and we're gonna put our press on here just slightly to try and press out a little bit more moisture from it. And if you're doing over some kind of metal sieve, then you might want to place some kind of bowl with like maybe a glass jar of water in your bowl, so that kind of presses the water out and dripping through the bottom. So I'm gonna put this now in the fridge overnight, and we're gonna proceed to step 3 in the morning. So our Okara cashew cheese has been draining overnight. So let's see what it looks like. So take the cloth, and first of all, let me lift this. Yes, so there's quite a bit of water in there, which is great. So it means obviously the cheese is more solid now, less kind of watery. So it should really be like kind of soft tofu. Yeah, it feels like quite a, yeah, it's nice. Look at that. So that is our fermented cheese. So I'm gonna add it to our tall jug here, because I have my handheld blender, but you could do that in your blender as well, or your food processor. I prefer doing it with the stick blender, because I can control, and because in the blender, if it's like a thick paste, it just gets splashed against the sides, and you need to keep on scraping and stopping and scraping, and with this you don't have that problem. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be making 2 kinds of soft Okara cashew cheeses. So we're going to make a base, which we're going to add some nutritional yeast. So this is 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast flakes. I've got 1 clove of garlic that I've crushed, so that goes in there. Okay, and then some salt, and that is kind of the basic ingredients. So I'm gonna put I think just scant half a teaspoon, so not quite, yeah, well, actually, because normally cheeses are quite salty, aren't they, because you don't need a lot, so about half a teaspoon of salt here. And I'm gonna just blend with my stick blender to incorporate this and make it smooth. Actually, I just thought of another ingredient that could replace salt. So instead of salt, you could put about a tablespoon of sweet miso paste, like a white miso paste, which has got the saltiness, but it also got the sweetness as well. So that I think would add really nicely to this. So let me just taste test this. Nice. And it is not, you know, too salty. Let me just give this another little go. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put a teaspoon of white miso paste here because it'll add that extra bit of flavor, depth, and that sweetness as well. I love miso paste, you know, both the white one and also kind of brown, red one. They add so much depth to the dishes. So I'm gonna just add about a teaspoon of miso paste in here. I had to go wash this because I licked it before, so didn't want to contaminate the whole cheese I'm making, because if you know, lick the spoons that you taste with and you dip back in, you basically your enzymes in your saliva start digesting the foods and they, you know, go bad quicker. So yeah, so that's a teaspoon of miso paste and I'm gonna incorporate it. So that's all mixed in. I've just had a little lick. Oh my goodness, it's so amazing. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna divide this into 2 bits. So we're gonna leave half in this jug and we're gonna be making smoky kind of paprika cheese, and then another I'm gonna mix in a bowl and we're gonna be making a chive cheese. So now for the smoked paprika and pepper cheese, I'm gonna be adding half a teaspoon of smoked paprika into this, just to give that really kind of smoky paprika flavor. So half a teaspoon, and I'm gonna blend it again. So now that looks nice and blended. So now, because this is quite soft still, so to stiffen it up, I will put a tablespoon of coconut flour. So this is something that will give a bit of kind of firmness to cheese, because coconut flour absorbs quite a bit of moisture. So I'll put a tablespoon of that in here and give it a good mix. So this is all mixed up, it's much stiffer, so we're gonna let it sit and thicken up further. And in the meantime, we're gonna prepare actually our chive cheese. So all we need to do to this one is put about 2 tablespoons of chopped chives. So they go in, and that will give that lovely kind of oniony chive taste. And also a tablespoon of coconut flour here as well. So in it goes, again to kind of stiffen it a bit. Because literally this is kind of almost like cream cheese at the minute, and you want it a little bit firmer than that. It will kind of firm up again a little bit more in the fridge. And we're gonna leave this to sit as well for about 5-10 minutes to thicken up. So now our cheeses have been standing for about 5 minutes or so. So now the cheeses have been standing for about 5 minutes, and I've got this damp microfiber cloth, which I'm kind of making my hands just slightly damp so that the cheese doesn't stick to them too much. And I'm gonna just try and roll it into a ball here. You can make 2 smaller bowls if you want, or 1 bigger one. I'm just going to go for 1 bigger one. And literally just roll into like a nice round kind of shape, something like that. And then I've got some chopped chives here, so I'm gonna dip my cheese into these chives to kind of, I think I want a bigger bowl actually. Let me use this bowl because this is quite a big cheese, so I don't want it to hit the sides. So you want a kind of a bigger plate or a bowl so that you could roll your cheese freely in it and that it coats all the sides like that. Obviously you have to be like really gentle because, as you can see, it's quite a fragile cheese until it kind of stiffens up a little bit more in the fridge. So this is our chive cheese. Okay, and now I'm gonna wash my hands and we're gonna do the same thing with the smoky paprika one. So this one for dipping, I've got some gochugaru kind of pepper flakes. So this is like slightly spicy flakes that you use to make kimchi, right? So I bought that for that purpose, but they are not as spicy as chili flakes or anything like that. You could, you know, use paprika flakes if you have any. I don't know if there is actually such a thing. I know there's paprika powder, but I don't know if there are pepper flakes, just like a normal pepper, capsicum flakes perhaps. But anyway, so I'm gonna roll into that. It'll be a little bit spicy, but hopefully not too much. So I'm just gonna wet my hands again with this damp cloth a little bit and do the same thing, roll this. But in the end you should have something like that. So I'm gonna just drop it into my flakes carefully and try and cover kind of all the surface with it. So then carefully just pat more of the flakes on, shape it a little bit more so it looks prettier, and voila, we've got 2 cheeses. So now we just need to taste test them. So here we have my taste tester, my trusted taste tester Mark.
Hello everyone.
And we have 2 Okara cashew fermented cheeses.
Yummy.
Okay, so we've never tried this before. Mark has never tried it. I've never tried it. Well, apart from just tasting as I was making it. So this is a little bit spicy. It's got some kind of pepper, like a bit of a spicy pepper flakes on the outside, and it's got smoked paprika inside. And this is just chives. Okay.
Okay.
So maybe we'll start from the chives one and then go on to the spicy one so that it doesn't mix up our palates.
Good idea.
Yeah, so have a piece and let's taste it. So this is kind of like your soft cheese that you would have it on a cracker or on a bit of bread. Okay. Oh my goodness, so good.
That is good.
So much flavor coming through. There's a little bit of sweetness from that miso paste that I put in there, and just so complex, the flavor, isn't it?
It is, but it's not.
Cashews as well, and
I was going to say it's not overbearing though.
No.
It's nice.
And it's full of good probiotic for you because this is fermented basically. So it's live cheese.
I said I might regret this tomorrow.
No. And then now the spicy one. Okay, let's taste test this. This is amazing. I'll be doing this more often, guys.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh.
In your mouth finger.
Yeah. So this got smoked paprika inside and like spicy kind of red pepper flakes, not like chili flakes, but kind of, you know, less spicy but still spicy pepper on the outside. Gochugaru pepper flakes. The one that you make kimchi with. The smokiness is so nice, isn't it? Of that cheese. And you can taste a bit of heat from the flakes, obviously, at the end, you know, on your tongue.
At the end, yeah, but it's not as if it's kind of choking you or anything. It's very kind of subtle.
So yeah. So which one would you say? Can you feel it now?
When I swallowed it, hit the back of my throat, but it's not really lingering.
Yeah,
that's quite good.
Once you have it with crackers or bread or something, it'll be less, you know, potent.
I think if you had a few bits of this, obviously it kind of would build.
Yeah.
But that's really nice, just kind of, you know, for a kind of little bit.
Which one do you think is your favourite?
Well, I've never been a fan of heat. So I'd probably go with the chives.
I think for me chives as well, although this is a nice variation, definitely.
I would say I do like the smokiness of that. It's got a very nice flavour, but I do get the feeling that if you had a couple of bits, it would kind of, the heat would mount up and it would be too much for me. Another
interesting variation you could try, maybe to do it with lemon pepper, you know, where lemon mixed with pepper and zest, and cover it with that, so that'll kind of be kind of zinginess, lemon. So I think that would be probably nice as well.
That'd be good.
A bit of pepper. So yeah, so if you give this a go, let us know what you thought of it, which one was your favorite. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video. If you're new here, welcome to the channel, and subscribe for more videos and experiments with Okara and without. And healthy weight loss tips on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And as always, guys, remember,
food is fuel.
So be mindful of what you put in the body. Exactly. Until next time, guys.
Bye, guys.